These are heady days for the Libyan people, as long as most of them can remember they lived in fear, at the mercy of an unpredictable leader. Now Muammar Gaddafi is gone. This is Bab al-Azazia, once the symbol of his power. Today all that remains is rubble. And Libyans are full of hope and excitement. An interim government is in place and work has begun on rebuilding the country's economic, social and political structures almost from scratch. And they're starting with the names. This used to be Gaddafi's Green Square, now it's Martyrs Square. As life slowly returns to normal, we meet a group of Libyans and ask them, what do they want the new Libya to look like? I'm Anita McNaught. Welcome to Tripoli and welcome to the Café. Joining us in the Café today, Taher Diab is a member of the National Transitional Council. He lived in exile for years in Ireland and Italy before returning to Libya 2 years ago. Azza Al-Maghrour is a lawyer and transparency advocate who's a member of Libya's High Commission for Human Rights. She's also the author of a collection of short stories. Zahi Mokherbi is a retired professor of political science at Benghazi University. He was involved in the drafting of a new Libyan constitution under the Gaddafi regime. Mohamed Omesh is the coordinator of the February 17th coalition in Tripoli, which organised the rebellion in the capital. He's a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. Amira Salak is a student of architecture and urban planning at Benghazi University. She heads an organisation focusing on youth empowerment called Bukra, or Tomorrow. And Adam Sabita, a Libyan-American college student who left the States in March to join the front lines of the fighting against Gaddafi's forces. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me in the Café. I wanted to get a sense from all of you, for the benefit of our audience, of what Tripoli is feeling like now. So much has changed, but not everything is working here. And at night I hear the sounds of gunfire, even sometimes explosions around where I'm living in Tripoli. So tell me, Azza, if I can start with you, what does Libya feel like now?
I think overall we're very happy. We're feeling happiness, and this is very nice. We're also proud. Also proud, though after a war, normally you have lots of complications. We have complications, but it's not that bad. The state is functioning, we are somehow safe. We feel safe. I don't know how to explain this, but we feel safe. After war, you just feel that something is going to happen, there is no security. Yes, we do hear these noises at night, and we're not happy with that. But we're going to do our best to put a limitation to this and to get rid of this as soon as possible.
Adam, what about you? You were one of those men who made noises at night. Do they bother you more now or less now?
I mean, you're kind of used to it, but the very, I guess, a millisecond or split second that you hear it, you do think, security, you do think, first thing you think about, is there something going on? But
there is something going on.
There is, but
what
nothing,
is the undercurrent here in Libya at the moment? Because we don't have a functioning police force yet. The militia, the brigades have not disarmed. So there are enormous potential problems here.
Definitely. One thing that I would say is that where the, I guess, outside world thinks that nothing is really going on, nothing is really being done to answer this or to fix this problem. I mean, I know for myself and my brigade that we've went to many lengths to try to fix something, to try to fix the situation, try to get organized, try to train ourselves by literally going online, looking at different things that are online, that are available online, resources, calling people that are overseas, and just trying to make some law and order. I mean, of course, it's nothing professional, because you have lawyers, doctors, students, taxi drivers that are now policemen, army, and they're supposed to, keep the city safe, keep the peace. So it's change of roles.
Amira, what worries you? What are you enthused about? What's right? What are you concerned? about?
First of all, I think the stage that we are is just the very first, it's the beginning. And it's like you're just bringing these people and ask them to build something with no plan for it, with no design, and each one has a different vision and just trying to make it together as one to build up. What worries me is for people to, like, on the way, the responsibility, like, to stop where they're taking responsibility, and for people to be fed up, because it's going to take time and it's going to take effort, and there are going to be many confusions, and we weren't really ready for this, as we never really thought about it. Not ready, as ready, we can do it.
Zahi, I mean, you're a political scientist. Presumably you've explored all sorts of scenarios where things can go wrong. But in Libya at the moment, of course, one feels optimistic. But do you, knowing exactly what could go wrong, what are you concerned about now?
The overall picture is very hopeful, and I feel that after what we have gone through, things should be good in the future. But however, there is a lot of concerns, especially concerning related to security issue. We feel that there are a lot of military brigades all around the country, and they are now more obvious in Tripoli, for example, coming from Benghazi and being there all the time, and seeing what did happen in the first few months in Benghazi. I feel hopeful. That's the source of my hope and my optimism about the future. I think what did happen and what is happening mostly are isolated cases. I mean, talking about after the liberation of the country, and not widespread things. So that's my hope for the future, that we can build a new system, a new society, a new country without the fear that we lived with under the Gaddafi regime.
Taher, as you are our NTC representative, if you like, issues of policy and implementation are going to end up sitting in front of you, I'm afraid. This issue of security, the reintroduction of genuine security, not just security for the regime and its followers, demilitarization, disarmament of the brigades. I mean, presumably this is your first priority. This is the NTC's first priority.
Yes.
Is it strong enough to do it? That's the question everyone's asking.
To be honest, I agree with Zahi. I'm optimistic in this, right? And this is any process in any revolution. You find these things happen, right? The brigade around. And thank God, you know, I mean, I'm sure if it's not in Libya, you will see a lot of bad things happen. But by nature, we are self-controlled. Even the one who is really outlaw or something, there is something inside him will pull him back, right? So I think this is a part of the process of any revolution. And only one thing, if any other part, outside part, or any people who are with the old regime taking advantage of that and using this, abusing these things. But in general, I'm optimistic.
Mohammed, do you agree with that? Do you feel that Libyans have actually displayed remarkable self-control? And is the NTC powerful enough to take the weapons off the people who are really still enjoying having them?
I think I agree with some of our colleagues here that people are somewhat self-disciplined. I was here in February 20th when Tripoli, the Tripoli uprising, and we saw the burning of the pictures of Gaddafi and so on and forth, and we saw how neighborhoods took care of securing themselves. And this was the same, or maybe much better done, when Tripoli was liberated in August 20th. So I think the real security comes from the people, from the individuals' neighborhoods. So it's not as the central government doing anything about that. But now I think it's important that we see the central government takes place or takes charge of the security of the country. Prolonging this or going a little bit far more than being able to control this will cause maybe some chaos. I'm not pessimistic or afraid of things going out of hand, but I think people maybe when, as you said, getting used to bearing arms and showing their arms in the streets and firing at night or so on and so on and so forth, should be now put to stop by having a real police force in the streets. And I think from what I hear from the people in charge, things are getting in that direction, but not as maybe we expected to take place in maybe after 4 months after the liberation.
Yeah, if I may add, actually there are two aspects of this. We have to also confront reality. I don't think that guns now are only at the hands of revolutionaries. I think guns now are everywhere. And this is frightening us, because if guns are only with the revolutionaries, they're disciplined somehow. But if they are out of control, then this is a very major, I think, problem. Second thing that, and then we may also see new crimes that we didn't have before. So we have to really be aware of this, and we have to really take this into consideration. Second thing, in my opinion, is that yes, indeed, we really proved to be civilized and self-restrained compared to what happens in the whole world. However, I don't think that we can count on this for too long. We're good, we're fine, we're doing our best, but we could lose this in a second or in a day or I'm very worried about that. We cannot really count on the self-disciplinary of the people. We have to really do something. Now, revolutionaries are saying there's a major issue here. They say we don't want to give up our arms. They say we want you to regulate our arms. So they regulate. So this is a major issue between the government or NTC and the revolutionaries, because they're saying we'll not give our arms now. You have to prove that there is democracy. We have to prove that things are really no dictatorships coming back. So they have their own way. And I think if we don't open dialogue between NTC and revolutionaries, not the heads of revolutionaries, all revolutionaries, everybody has to sit down and be creative and found our way out of this.
We all revolutionists. We all. I mean, this is okay.
I would agree and disagree with that.
All right, because we are all, as much as they're concerned, when we started the first day, all of us here, right, we start for democracy, right? But we will not let them, let them down. And these, revolutionaries, they are part of us. They are not away from us. We started together. So as much as they're concerned, it's our concern too, to fight for freedom and democracy.
Adam, you're going to say something.
And that's a very sensitive part, because people trying to say the revolutionary and they make another criteria, right? And the other people. No, we have the revolution people and the other regime. That's what we don't want. Anyone related to the other regime, they should be stick at home and stay away from us.
Ooh.
Until, yes.
Oh, you're buying into big problems there.
No, it's not.
Let's point out something very obvious.
No, I don't see
here.
it's a big problem. No.
Before the liberation of Tripoli, the news we got that Gaddafi's regime distributed 150,000 Kalashnikovs. So it's not, the arms is not only in the hands of the people who fought.
Arms are
yes,
everywhere.
so
It's a given. But look,
okay, so
let's deal with this issue, and you raised it too quickly, because I want to...
One point that I think that really needs to be made about the whole self-control of the people and what the people are securing. I mean, we have to look back at before February 17th, before the whole revolution took place. I mean, what security did the government what security did the government have before? I mean, I think it was people by themselves, where they learned themselves that, the government's not going to do anything for me. I have to have my own security. I have to make my own way of means. So they were already fashioned and already molded to make their own security and do everything for themselves.
But this
so
is
helped
Libya
out.
under a siege mentality, and
Yep.
this is, I presume, what you're trying to shake off. But, and let's deal with this very directly, there is a group missing from this discussion today, and this is a group that is still significant in this country. It's the group that believe that Gaddafi was right, and still feel that what he stood for was good for Libya. And we could not get them to come to a panel discussion like this because they don't feel safe talking in public. Now, this is what you have to reconcile with, because these people are your brothers and sisters, and as long as they exist, if they're not reconciled, they are potentially a problem. And you yourself have just said that the arms in the hands of people like that who feel excluded, could become the biggest security threat you have. You really believe that?
I think, people, they had their chance before, right? Gaddafi's people. And if they are joining us and stay with us now, they will not,
But
they
to
will
sing
not.
your tune? Why do they have to sing the same song as you
No.
in order to be part
No,
of Libya?
I mean, we made the revolution against Gaddafi, want to get rid of Gaddafi. How can we expect his people to come back? How can we expect them?
It may not be.
I mean, let's forget about democracy
coming
for a
and
while,
saying we
right?
want Gaddafi to come back. They may come with the same ideas, but with just with different cover.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally believe that if they want to come, if we want true democracy, if what we really fought for was democracy, then by all means we have to let them come. We have to, if they want to make their own party, as long as they're abiding by the rules, you know, keeping law, keeping order, not creating, as you mentioned, the insurgency. I mean, if you're willing to come at the table and talk, be civilized, by all means, you can come and be anything. I mean, that's what true democracy is.
I think we have to differentiate between this transitional period and the period of democracy, when we built our democratic institution. And in that period, the later period, everybody has the right to participate. But right now, I feel that we have to have some restrictions against some of the main element of the regime who were well known of committing a crime, of plundering the national wealth, of corruption. Those have to be dealt with according to the law, and I don't think they are to be given a free hand. Having said that, I think the talk about people loyal to Gaddafi, and there are a lot of them, I think sometimes we are overestimating the case, and as long as Gaddafi is gone, I think he was the rallying point. He, his sons, now the Gaddafi family have disappeared, and most of the people who were with Gaddafi were for personal interest and not for ideological believing in that. Everybody knows that what Gaddafi was saying is rubbish and it is not workable in Libya. But people were working with him to get benefit, most of the
Out of interest,
Libya.
what do we feel the support is now for, if you like, the Gaddafi view? What is the green? What do you think is the green proportion of Libya now? What's left? 5%, 10%?
In my own opinion,
Genuine supporters of the old way of doing
I agree
things.
with what Dr. Zahi said. I really think the transitional period is a bit shaky, and we have to now start reconciliation. Now, national reconciliation. National reconciliation does not mean pardon. Doesn't mean that. It means also that you have to know the reality. You have to know what happened, and we have to, so that we avoid this later on. But meanwhile, I think we should not, in this period, we should not increase the green flag. We should not increase the green area. We should really we should not push people to say one day, oh, that days, we really regret that days.
Amira, just a quick comment from you, then I'll come back to you.
Just the one point first about the reconciliation. I don't think that we can start at this really at now, because first there's a transitional justice that we need to do, as you were saying, because we have here families that are still they're still hurt from what happened before. You cannot tell them do the whole reconciliation without them knowing and get their justice, and without them knowing what happened with their children, with their family, and tell them just this is a process. We cannot jump to the end of it. We have to go through it step by step to eventually go to the democracy.
Tahir was dying to make a point.
No, I mean, for example, anyone from Gaddafi's regime went to the war, right? He's an army soldier, right? Okay, that's we say maybe he's been forced to that. But I mean, the people who have the idea of Gaddafi, there is no place for them, by God. We cannot give them a place for us. Now, at least. I mean, okay, maybe when there is constitution, okay, but now, this period, if they came with us, they will hold us back and they will, abort the revolution. I mean, at least for this period, they have to stop.
I would like to go back briefly to
At least for this period,
security
they have to stop.
issue. We are talking about disarming the brigades, the fighting brigade, the revolution brigade. But I think this is the litmus test for the government and for the national. Do they have a plan? Of course, if some brigades want to hand up their arms and to join the army or to the police or go to their civilian life, where's the plan? We don't know how these armed forces to be formed, in what direction, in what, how it would be composed of, and also the military, the security forces. So it is the duty now for the new transitional government and the National Transition Army. People will not be forgiving anymore. They have to see results, deliverable.
Results,
Otherwise, we lose confidence.
Can I move this on for a moment and just look at a wider picture here? I mean, you've arrived at a place that all of you, because you're not part of the old regime, are very pleased with. But you arrived there with help. You arrived there with the help of countries like Qatar, and you arrived there with the assistance of organizations like NATO. Now, do you feel that was a complete success? Are you comfortable with the degree of help you got? Would you have liked less? Has there been too much? And we have people like Mahmoud Jibril coming out and saying Qatar is now interfering far too much and they need to step back.
I mean, I would say coming from, I guess you'd say the on-the-ground, frontline point of view. For NATO, I would say they helped, but I wouldn't say they helped enough. For example, in the areas that we took part in, the areas that we fought in Zawiya, they helped amazingly. It was amazing. The way they helped and like the way we would see them actually hitting different spots as we were going up. We'll hear big explosions, we'll hear gunfire, we'll hear, you know, the Apache helicopter coming and just wiping out different areas. But then if you go to different areas, for example, when we were in Tiji, you could hear the tank shells, you can hear the amount of artillery that the Gaddafi forces had, and you can hear the NATO jets above, but you never heard an explosion. So it's like, okay, I mean, we're here now, why aren't you helping us out now? I mean, as far as Qatar goes, we heard a lot of people talking about Qatar is helping on the ground, but you didn't really see it. So, I mean, for me, I really didn't see it too much from them helping on the military point of view. I mean, yeah, they did have some guys that came and they trained, but that was pretty much that's it. That's where I saw.
I think I want to say something. I think the international community had an obligation of protecting the civilians, and I think they did that to a certain amount of success. And but you know, war cannot only be fought from the air. I mean, NATO alone just bombarding Gaddafi's positions is not going to solve the issue. It is the resolve of the Libyan people, I think, which made the difference at the end of the day, because there was too much talk about coming to a political solution. Even NATO, probably in different occasions, they were talking about it has to come to a political solution. It has to come a political solution. But I think the resolve of the freedom fighters on the ground made it that it is the military solution that took place. Because when we fought at the beginning, the first month, we did not expect the NATO to come. We did not expect the international community to help. The Libyan people went out and sacrificed their lives to gain their freedom. Then the international community intervened, and I think it came timely.
We're going to stop there. We're going to take a break now. Stay with us. We'll be right back. For Libyans, the revolution is over, but the overhaul of their social, political and economic structures has just begun. In the Café in Tripoli, our guests discuss the challenges they face after 42 years of dictatorship. Welcome back. We're going to talk a little bit about the future of Libya, the immediate future of Libya, the challenges that you've got ahead of you. The NTC has set itself the goal of elections in June, July 2012. Convince me you have the remotest chance of making that deadline.
Yes, I agree.
It's early.
I agree. It's too early.
Can you do it? Too early?
Yes, too early. I think
not possible.
I don't know, but I think it's not really up to July. I think it's too early. It's a short time, a short period. I think it should be.
Is this what the NTC is saying amongst themselves at the moment? Is everyone?
That's what my opinion, not it.
Okay.
Another point that I would add for the being too early. I mean, I have yet to see the NTC do any sort of education for this sort of thing. Because I mean, you've had 42 years of complete absence of anything political, any type of political education. I mean, the people aren't really accustomed and know the whole political atmosphere, know or why should I vote for this person? What is a political party? What do you have? What are the ingredients for this? I mean, so I think it's, the NTC's job to educate the people and show some sort of clarity. Because there is an improvement of some clarity and some transparency in the NTC, but it's still not enough.
The issue of transparency is important.
Exactly.
Okay, we need the government and the NTC to be transparent.
Are they?
Until
Are
now,
they transparent enough?
Okay, now the new government, we have not seen yet their practice because they've just been put in place. But in my opinion, the NTC is not transparent in the sense that we don't know what they are doing. As people, we need to know. There must be some kind of forms of TV show that when the NTC members come out there and tell us what they are discussing, tell us what issues up for discussions. I think not doing so, making us in the dark. We don't know what they're doing.
I think you have a communication problem.
I think they need to solve
They all
that.
think you have a communication problem.
I think they need to solve
remember
it.
in the days of Benghazi.
With the NTC.
Yes. And now they're increasing their numbers.
We don't know.
Nobody know. Yeah, who are
Do
they?
you know how
Who
they
are
are?
they?
We don't know
there is
up to
no
now who
website
they are.
that lists their names,
The NTC.
their
NTC
pictures.
members, we don't know who they
I
are.
think that's strategic.
What's the number? Define the number. What's
define the number is
51 or
80.
54.
Yeah, but we don't know how many you have now.
We have 51 now.
Yeah, I just heard it's 71. Just heard it's 74.
Yes,
Program saying
71.
that now they are 54 or 53.
Well,
And the
people
other
attending
problem,
now, they are 52 at the moment.
I think the problem is...
And none of them are
71.
transparent. And none of them are communicators.
Anita, I feel that the NTC for us, for the PBR people, is a black box now. I mean, strategic communication was a problem from day one. They didn't know how to reach out to the people, even to pronounce their successes. I mean, they don't talk.
It may sound like a broken record, but it always goes back to the main point of this wormhole, this black hole that we had for the 42 years. I mean, now that we do, right now, since we have the NTZ on the chop block, I want to give, you have to give them some benefit of the doubt. I mean, they're running a country, at the same time trying to make a new government, at the same time trying to make sure that, little things on the outside, even the international community is also pleased with what they're doing. I mean, they're running a few things at one time, but at the same time, they're not to blame 150%, but they are to blame for something.
But they aren't helping themselves.
Exactly. I mean,
That's the feedback you're getting. You're not helping yourselves.
They're focusing on everything else but the NTC.
So high, right? And even our expectation is so high.
Exactly.
Okay, and we think in a very short time that we will do it all.
But this is the problem
There are
with the
basic,
council. They did not
expectations I
try
think
to
they should be
manage
met.
expectation. It is very important
to
that to
take a
manage
step back,
expectation,
take a step
to tell the people that, okay, we can't do all these things at once. And that's why. And you say 1, 2, 3, 4, we don't have enough money, we don't have so and so and so. You tell them that. But as long as you are not telling them that, people, you can't blame
create a picture, to
people
paint a
for
pretty picture is fine.
expecting things to happen.
We don't even have an updated website. We just want to know, for example, what are the decisions?
Yes.
What you are the legislative body now.
And
So we want to
decision-making
know,
mechanism.
We want to know, do you vote for these decisions? The votes of such a decision, how many pro and how many against? Is there any abstentions? It's very abstention. Sorry, it's very. We really want to know. We don't know much
And the other thing
about
that
this.
Anita raised, that we need, the government has to realize that it is not providing security only. They have to provide for the basic needs of the people, for their education, for their health. Now they have no excuses. I mean, during the period of fighting, they were excusing them for many things, and we said that the overall direction is right. But now people will look at specifics. There have to be things delivered to them.
Taher, I know we're pinning this all on you.
I think we put
You knew that's why you'd come here today. But is the NTC aware of these problems?
aware, fully aware of any
That it
problem.
should have a better website. That it should.
Yes. In
Communicate
fact, I think the last time they were, last week they decided to approve the website, and which is they should be approved from the day one, right? But I think maybe because of the the immense pressure, they left things behind.
lately there are Tripoli Council just provided 8 people seats for Tripoli in NTC. Not one woman was chosen for the seat. If we knew that there is an agreement or consensus, or people are really sitting in such a place, for example, to choose people, we would have been present and say, well, look, we have some demands, we have some women, but we were not even told about this sort of meetings.
Why didn't you shout? Why didn't you?
I'm shouting every day. I have please come to my lectures. I'm shouting. Oh yes, well, I've been heard because you are in such a compound. We cannot reach you. We cannot reach you.
It's
yeah, but you can help. You can help.
Your council, local council.
Yeah, but you can help. I'm not saying anything about NTC,
I remember the last time when they came, 8 of them, we asked them, where is women? And they said,
Yeah, but if you imposed quota, they would have get the women.
Why do you have to impose a quota?
Well, how can
I mean, in the States, for example.
You have to,
In
because we're not equals.
In the States, for example,
reality.
for when they're having, the Congress elections in the state itself, they don't say, well, okay, fine, the Democratic Party, you have to have 3 people, and from those 3 people, one of the nominees has to be a female.
When the country is really aware and have that in their culture and mind, that they start to look at people equally and about their qualification, not towards their gender. When we reach that point, we're going to maybe move the idea of
to
quota,
what you
but
say,
right
I
now-
think that United States or the West in general is not a good example for that. The gender question is a global question, and it is not specific to a certain region or certain culture.
Amira, do you feel women even have opportunities here as things are constructed? Do you feel the political space belongs equally to you yet?
I think us women will not. I mean, we're going to work on it, and it's going to happen by them. And I mean, the whole culture, even that kind of stuff, it's all moving and changing as well. And a while ago, there was a conference in Tripoli, and it's about women and Libyan women's voice. And one interesting thing was so many members of the NTC came. It really attracted their attention. So I do think that's going to be a change, and they're going to raise their voice, and they're starting to be heard in that.
What about religious conservatism? Is that going to be another counterforce, apart from the way things have always been done in Libya, that you're also going to have to battle?
Actually, religion is supporting us and supporting our women to be a part of this in every side. I mean, every point.
But not all forms of political Islam support the participation of women.
I believe Islam doesn't stop women even to be a president. I mean, I think women in Islam can do all.
And one thing with that we should know that our Islam is very moderate type of Islam. And then there
when
is...
you say our, who do you speak for?
Here in Libya, I think, and in
precisely.
the most. But the most important thing is that we look at demographics reality. The young people are representing more than 65 or 70% of the population. And they are youth and women. For my opinion, they are representing the critical mass for the Libyan future. And it depends on their involvement and their participation in politics and social life. And what they have showed during the last 10 months was amazing. I mean, enthusiastic, involving, taking things in their hands. So in this sense, I think they will be the critical mass that will enforce things because they represent the majority.
Okay, well, as a representative of the young majority...
I wouldn't say our Islam is moderate Islam. I would say our Islam is Islam. I mean, Islam in itself is already moderate.
Our interpretation, personal interpretation for Islam, that's what I meant. Our Islam is one, but some people will interpret this Islam in one way, others will interpret it
And the
in
conservatives
other
will
way.
have voice that they
have to
never
make,
had.
I think right now, since we are in a transitional point, we have to make that clear.
As long as people are not as going through the democratic process and going to vote on issues, then let everyone speak about their ideas.
Exactly.
And I think, as Dr. Zahi said, Libyans don't like extremism. Okay, by nature. So anyone who's extreme, either on this side or that side, people will reject.
Because it's one of the metrics that everyone always refers to. What do you think, for example, the Muslim Brotherhood support would be in elections if they are held next year? If they are held next year?
I think You can see, if you want to talk about the Brotherhood, look at their institutions. I know in Benghazi, the last meeting they had women elected to their highest Shura consultative body, which is a woman or more being elected to that body, which has never been done probably in Libya before, due to the fact that it was an underground movement. But now, since it's in the open, they're electing women to their highest bodies of governance of the Brotherhood. So I think, as I said, political movements that maybe take Islam as their agenda are open to the issue of women, of inclusion.
Are you reassured by all this?
Yes, I'm not. I have no worries, and I think that.
But Gaddafi played lip service to women's power and his regime. He talked about it, but the reality was completely different.
That's why I said we have to push laws. Sometimes in such periods, it's temporary. What we call it, it's also at the CEDAW convention. Sometimes you have to push women. You have to push democracy. You have to push the transformation into democracy by legislation. That's why legislation you have to help. You can't say we're equals and in reality we're not.
Is this country going to manage to stay together? Because we've got this other issue here, the power of the regions, a newly assertive Misrata, a newly assertive Zintan. The Benghazi Tripoli issue is as ancient as Libya itself. You're all laughing at me, but
I think this is an issue that has to be addressed very honestly and very frankly. I mean, there are people who are talking about federalism, and there are some writings that they are talking about just tribalism and regionalism of Libya in the West and some people in Libya. I think, in my own thinking, that they are talking their frame of reference of Libya of the 50s and 40s and not Libya of now. Libya of the youth, Libya of the young people who don't care about this regional or tribal issue. The people who are raising these issues are people from my own generation and older.
But the other argument is they did this to ensure they got a better slice of the assets when the new wealth starts flowing into this country.
Okay, they are talking, this is the confusion that many of people who are talking about federalism, they are really talking about decentralization.
Yes.
And not about political
decentralization.
The problem you have with this is what?
No, the decentralization, I think this is justice. You can't, what the past regime did was, he was playing on that. If I don't like the people in Benghazi, I will refrain from providing to them this service or that service. So you find areas where you really don't have enough services because this is sort of a collective punishment. That's how it was. He played on that a lot. But who is a Tripolitanian anymore? My God, who is a Benghazi person anymore? I mean, if you go back to your roots, you'll find your roots. I don't know from where or from where. It's all mosaic anymore. But decentralization is an issue.
And also, for example, decentralization. For example, you want to draw a paper, right? You have to come from Benghazi to Tripoli for it. And what's my opinion? There is no centralization in Tripoli or Benghazi too. Because we need every city can do anything itself, because there is you don't have to go even 10 kilometers outside your city. You have to be provided inside the city.
What we're hoping for now, what we're presupposing is that Libya has a kind of judicial structure to be fair, to administer fairly between the regions and to administer justice fairly. And this is one of the issues that's cropped up with the capture of Saiful Islam. Do you feel you have a justice system up to not only trying him, because that seems to be where we're headed, but also to administering justice in a way that you would all wish for now?
At this point in time, I would say no.
Neither for him nor for you?
I think we still have a judicial system.
As
but
of now?
Yeah.
This point in time, right now?
No, let me just, because I'm a lawyer. Okay. My problem here is the security issue. If you have people with the gun in the streets, no judge would have the courage to order to put someone in prison where his cousin or he is from the brigades or anything like that. So I think it's merely a security issue. However, we still have, of course, backward laws. Well, these laws have never been developed because the regime didn't really make it possible to develop.
I'm curious, just to stay on the issue of Saiful Islam for a moment. Do you think, if things had turned out differently, that he could have been a man to have led Libya into a different future?
I think we need to look at the context when Saif al-Islam came out as a political figure and a national figure and tried to do so. Remember, in the late 90s and early new millennium, the relation between Libya and the West was improving. There was a sense of resignation and despair among people, Libyan people, especially among the elites, that Gaddafi is staying forever and the Western power is helping him. When Gaddafi, Saif, came out with this idea, the people felt that there was a chance for that. And myself, we worked for a constitution during safe areas between 2005, 2008. But after 2008 and nothing was transpired, we felt despair and frustration. But the ultimate test was his speech on the 20th of February. I think in that speech, he turned out from a potential statement into a world war.
I mean, I saw Saif as, okay, Gaddafi is a closed case. I mean, there's no way, no how would anyone be able to get into Gaddafi's circle and change anything. But with Saif, he opened up a small door of opportunity where it looked like you could come in and you could possibly change something. But when when it comes to reality now, when you look back at it,
I never believed in them or in only one member of the family. I think even if Saif's come, that's only to prolong the life of the family, of Gaddafi's family. I never believed in any one of them.
Would you agree by saying that is worth a shot? Have you ever thought?
No, I never thought. I would never give him a chance. I wouldn't give him a chance.
For 42 years, we lived. Whenever we can have an opportunity, let's grab it. Whenever we have an area where you can put your leg, let's put it. But we never thought. We all deep in ourselves thought.
We have to be frank in that. We have to differentiate between the people who are living here in Libya and suffering and facing all dangers, and people who are living outside Libya. The people who are living, to be honest and frank on this, the people who are living outside Libya has the luxury of saying no on that. But we want to breathe, and we want to see any kind of opportunity, any margin of freedom that we can grab and keep. I think to blame people inside the country who tried to do these things, to improve the situation, to have a margin of freedom, it is completely wrong in my idea, because other people were doing nothing.
Now you have a chance to build a completely different society. What do you want to do differently with the wealth that Libya sits on?
We want to have a government that really plan for the future. Today we have wealth, we have the oil, which compromises about 95% of the national income. So I think we want a government that will invest this wealth to the future of the Libyans. We want Libya to not depend alone on the national wealth, the oil wealth. We want to diversify the income of this nation so that when time comes for this wealth to diminish or decrease, we're not hurt. So I think part of it, yes, we want to see a modernization of the city and improvement of other towns as well. But at the same time, we want to have a strategic plan for this country really to rely on other means of wealth so that we can diversify
And what about building your region? Gaddafi spent a lot of that oil money in building ties with Africa. Would you like to see that kind of charity stroke
I think we can't escape
manipulation?
The reality of geography and history. We are part of a region, and we have to interact with this region. But we have to interact with the region in for our own national interests. And
well, isn't that what Gaddafi was doing?
Libya, no, he was not, and Libya first. That's what he was not. See how Libya is developed. There's nothing developed in Libya. We have a rundown infrastructure, deteriorating services in health, in education, in all walks of life. So spending the money outside when you are suffering inside, the saying we had for Libya is a wealthy country, but its people are poor. This is what we did not want.
I totally agree with Dr. Zahi. Still, we're also very close to Europe. So you have to take also this factor into consideration. Yes, we are in Africa.
Our wealth to Europe or to Africa.
No. It's nothing to do with wealth. No, it's to do with relationships.
That we are closer to Europe that we get them.
I'm speaking about relationships.
We will deal with them.
I'm speaking
on the same level.
Yeah. No, on the same level, this is something else.
No,
but anyway,
we have to deal with it.
But this is something. There are lots of things playing in this game.
No, there's nothing complicated. It's our own country, and we have to decide.
No, in my opinion, you can't.
We need to have our own independence.
Our independence, yes.
Because in the
In
future,
our
if you're just
decision,
thinking
we have
of
to
the
have
wealth,
our own independence.
I think what
think
you
about
We
the
will
oil
not allow
is
anyone
more,
to
participate
dictate.
in the oil thing.
We want
Yes.
people to
Start our
participate
own
in the
things
building
later
of
on
this
in the
country.
future.
We don't want closed rooms anymore. We want people to participate. We are 6 million, that's all. We're only 6 million. We're having problems of 200 millions or something. We are 6 million. This is not a big deal, you know. It's not a big deal.
And on this optimistic thought about how possible it is to achieve great change with only 6 million, I think we'll stop. Thank you for watching. Join us next week at the Café in Tunis, where we continue our look at the Arab Spring.
I was surprised because I think we made this revolution not to oust Gaddafi himself. We made this revolution to oust the Gaddafi and his regime. And how come that we found ourselves, Gaddafi is gone and his regime is staying?
There are a few opinions that I actually did not know that we had around us, so it was good to hear that.
I made my point about Western intervention in Libya, and I thought, I hoped for more of discussion on that. But overall, I think it was okay.
I didn't expect that we can talk that much. It was very good. We covered lots of topics. Anita was excellent. We also managed to have different thoughts and different people and different backgrounds. It was great.
We're having more time to discuss the issue of tribalism and regionalism, but at least we touched the main point of that.
I would say that the diversity of the group, the different ideas that were out there. I mean, you have people that want Libya to be a little bit more conservative. You want people that want Libya to be a little bit more liberal. I mean, to see all those different options on the table, I enjoyed. I mean, I changed my perspective from some ideas.